A major betrayal within the Dutton family could be coming, and it's going to shake things up in a big way. Whether it's Jamie turning against John once and for all, or another family member switching sides, this betrayal could be the final blow that destroys the Dutton family. Yellowstone has always thrived on family conflict, and with tensions at an all-time high, the possibility of a shocking betrayal feels more likely than ever. Fans are bracing themselves for a twist that will permanently alter the family's dynamics and change alliances in a way that no one saw coming. Now, to understand all of these theories and predictions, let's get into a recap of what really went down in the first half of Yellowstone Season 5. A much-needed refresher. Yellowstone is set in the sprawling Montana ranch owned by the Dutton family, with Kevin Costner leading the charge as the gruff and powerful John Dutton. Alongside him is a cast of characters like the fierce Beth, the conflicted Jamie, and the loyal Rip. Since its premiere in 2018, Yellowstone has built a massive fan base, and Season 5, which premiered in November 2022, has been no exception. The first half of the season aired its mid-season finale on New Year's Day 2023, leaving fans eagerly awaiting the final episodes. But with so much happening in just the first 8 episodes of Season 5, you might need a bit of a recap to keep it all straight. So let's break it down, episode by episode. Right off the bat, Yellowstone doesn't pull any punches. In the first episode of Season 5, John Dutton has just been elected governor of Montana, but instead of celebrating, he's brooding. Even as his daughter Beth sheds happy tears for him, John seems reluctant about this new role. It's a big moment for the Dutton family, but John's reluctance hints at the storm ahead. Meanwhile, in one of those sweet throwbacks, we get a flashback of young Rip and Beth as they flirt and play hard to get, which is always fun to see. Shifting to the present, Beth, who's now married to Rip, apologizes for any pain she might have caused him in the past. But, of course, this is Yellowstone, and things don't stay calm for long. While John is busy being inaugurated, Casey is off on his own adventure, trying to stop horse thieves at the Canadian border. But the real drama is happening with Monica, who goes into labor and tries to drive herself to the hospital. Tragically, she gets into a car accident. While she survives, her baby does not. In a heartbreaking moment, Monica names the baby John before he passes away. It's a heavy start to the season, and you can already feel the tension mounting. With Monica mourning the loss of her baby, the second episode focuses on how grief weighs on everyone. Tate, Monica, and Casey's son worry about his mom, and the family grapples with the tragedy. Meanwhile, on the ranch, Rip is being his usual tough love self with Carter, the boy he and Beth have taken under their wing. But things take a grim turn when Carter accidentally causes a horse to break its leg, and Rip has no choice but to put the animal down. It's one of those Yellowstone moments that hit hard. Life is tough on the ranch, and there's no room for mistakes. On the political side, John is already shaking things up as governor. He fires his chief of staff and gives the job to Beth, who tries to refuse. But John isn't having any of it, so Beth is now thrust into the middle of John's war with Market Equities, the corporation that's been trying to take control of the Dutton land. As always, John is willing to do whatever it takes to protect his ranch, even if it means bending the rules. The third episode starts with Beth going on the offensive, and when Beth is in attack mode, you know things are about to get intense. She's determined to protect the ranch, and that means throwing the first punch at Market Equities. Meanwhile, there's an issue with wolves attacking the Dutton's cattle, and John is fed up. He's ready to blame the government, demanding they fix the problem before it escalates. Rip is dealing with the aftermath of the wolf attacks, while Jamie, the family's lawyer turned politician, is getting cozy with Market Equities. In a meeting, Jamie dismisses the company's concerns about losing the ranch's lease, while Sarah Atwood, who works for Market Equities, starts manipulating Jamie to switch sides. And just to keep things spicy, Beth finds herself arrested after smashing a bottle over a guy's head for flirting with Rip. Classic Beth move, right? The fourth episode is about loss. On the emotional front, Beth and Jamie's relationship hits a boiling point, but before that, Beth has to get out of jail after her bottle smashing incident. Thankfully, the woman she assaulted doesn't press charges, and Beth is free to go. But here's where things get even more heated. On the ride home with Jamie, Beth notices a baby's car seat in the back of his car. Jamie has a son, and he hasn't told anyone in the family. When Beth realizes this, she's furious, and she swears to take Jamie's son away from him. The sibling rivalry between these two has always been fierce, but now it's reaching new dangerous levels. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, the Duttons are mourning in their own way. They're digging graves, one for Monica's baby and one for the horse Carter accidentally killed. After the funeral, John and Rip have a serious conversation about the wolves, with Rip reassuring John that the wolves have been taken care of in a place where no one will find them. But while all this is going down, Jamie is busy getting cozy with Sarah Atwood. The two end up sleeping together, and in true Yellowstone fashion, Beth is spying on them. She snaps a picture of Sarah's ID and discovers that, surprise, it's fake. Beth, ever the strategist, now has more ammo to use against both Sarah and Jamie. The 5th episode kicks off with a time-honored Yellowstone tradition, cattle branding. John Dutton, who's now governor of Montana, isn't about to let his new political role stop him from getting his hands dirty on the ranch. He turns the annual cattle branding into a political event, showing off just how important ranching is to Montana's heritage. And let's be real, John knows exactly how to turn tradition into a power move. Meanwhile, Beth has her eyes on Summer, the environmentalist who's been working closely with John. Beth isn't exactly the trusting type, and she's got a bad feeling about Summer's intentions. Rip tries to remind her that this isn't exactly her crowd, cowboys and ranch hands, but Beth insists on tagging along with the boys on a ride to keep tabs on Summer. After a tense family dinner, Beth and Summer can't keep their dislike for each other bottled up any longer. The two head outside, and before you know it, fists are flying. It's a classic Yellowstone moment. Beth doesn't hold back, and Summer fights right back. Later, though, Beth decides to test Summer's dedication to her environmental cause by sending her out to survey the land while the cowboys are working. Beth wants to see if Summer really believes the ranch is as much of a threat as she thinks it is. The 6th episode gives us a brief reprieve from the usual high-octane drama, with the Duttons enjoying a peaceful day out riding together. But before we get too comfortable, things take a dark turn when a military force shows up at the Broken Rock Indian Reservation. Their bizarre vendetta against stray dogs leads them to shooting innocent animals, much to Moe's horror. It's one of those unsettling moments that Yellowstone loves to throw in. Just when you think you know what's going on, something unexpected happens. Back at the ranch, Monica and Summer, two women who couldn't be more different, end up bonding while peeling potatoes. It's a surprisingly sweet moment that contrasts with the chaos happening elsewhere. Meanwhile, Rip and the cowboys enjoy a night of whiskey and cigarettes, but when morning comes, tragedy strikes. John's longtime friend, Emmett, doesn't wake up. He passes away peacefully under the stars, but his death still hits John hard. Later, John attends a party where Senator Linnell, who's more than just a political ally, advises him to make time for a meeting with the president, who's visiting Montana. But not everyone is in the mood for celebrations. Jamie catches a news clip showing John hugging Emmett's wife, and the sight of it seems to push Jamie further down the path of resentment. In the 7th episode, the tension ramps up as Sarah offers Jamie a plan to help the ranch evolve. Naturally, Jamie is quick to say yes because, well, he's completely wrapped around Sarah's finger at this point. She's got him so whipped that he's not even questioning her motives anymore. Meanwhile, Monica is still trying to figure out Beth. Why is she so harsh all the time? But in a rare tender moment, Beth opens up to Monica, telling her about her own heartbreaking loss of a child. It's a raw moment that gives us a glimpse into the pain that fuels Beth's tough exterior. Out on the ranch, the cowboys discover something that could spell disaster: a bunch of stillborn bison calves. This is bad news because it suggests there's a disease spreading, and if the cattle are infected, the entire herd might have to be killed. Even if the cattle are safe, the land is tainted, which means the cows will have to be moved south, forcing the cowboys off the ranch. Beth, ever the businesswoman, proposes a bold plan. Yellowstone should start selling its own beef to bring in some much-needed cash. But the episode doesn't end on that note of hope. Jamie is preparing for his big moment. He's planning to address the Montana State Assembly and recommend that John be impeached for putting the ranch's land in a conservation easement. Finally, in the mid-season finale, things start getting real. John asks Monica to step up and look after the ranch while he's busy with work and Rip is down in Texas. It's a big ask, but Monica agrees, signaling that she's starting to feel more at home in the Dutton world. Meanwhile, Jamie finally makes his move. He delivers his speech to the Montana State Assembly, calling for an investigation into John's decision to put the ranch land in a conservation easement. It's a power play and one that Jamie hopes will bring his father down for good. But John is already working to clean up the mess, trying to remind people that the real issue is the pipeline, not his decision about the land. And then there's Beth, who, as usual, isn't going to let anything slide. When she finds out about Jamie's actions, she's furious. She breaks into his house and attacks him, smashing a rock over his head. She gives Jamie an ultimatum: resign, or she'll release the photo of him dumping his biological father's body. But Jamie, now emboldened, hits back with a reminder that if Beth tries to expose him, she'll also be implicating John. It's a classic Dutton standoff, no one wins, and the tension just keeps escalating. Jamie then turns to Sarah, asking her if it's possible to hire someone to kill Beth. The fact that he's even considering this tells you just how far their sibling rivalry has gone. This isn't just about family squabbles anymore. This is life or death. But amidst all this chaos, there's a glimmer of hope. Monica, who's been through so much heartbreak, is slowly finding her footing again. She and Casey start talking about their future, and it seems like they're finally ready to embrace a life together on the ranch. It's a rare moment of peace in a season that's been anything but calm.